Courtney and I love building things with shipping containers. From our shipping container home that we lived in to our buried off-grid power system, we love them for their portability and instant weather-tight storage. So when we set off to build our budget-minded equipment storage shed, I knew I wanted to incorporate containers into the design. With a set of secondhand roof trusses, used shipping containers, and lumber that we milled ourselves, I'm hoping to be into this project for less than $15,000. Step one was to prep the building site. Our property is steep and rocky, so I had my work cut out for me. After roughing in the pad with a massive 30-ton excavator we rented over the summer, it was time to get things level and flat. I was able to get a bunch of fill dirt from behind our shop while simultaneously digging our shallow well. Go check that video out when you're done watching this one. As usual, our army dump truck was the star of the show, and I moved literal tons of dirt to get things level. It was really neat getting to use the water from our new shallow well to help with compaction. I used the vibratory roller on the skid steer to get things nice and flat, and then it was finally time to take delivery of our first shipping container. With how difficult it was in the past to get a 20-foot container delivered, I was pretty worried about what it was going to be like to get this 40-foot high cube up here. But our massive road project from the summer paid off, and he was able to drive it all the way to our house.
I cannot believe that we just got a 40-foot container up to our house.
The delivery driver backed it most of the way down the hill, and then it was up to Courtney and I to get it the rest of the way there. We were able to use the skid steer and the excavator to drag it into place. Then we took delivery of the second container and drug it into place as well. That's when this project really started to feel real, and it was the motivation that I needed to double down and get this thing cranking. Once the containers were perfectly leveled and spaced, I welded some rebar in between to help hold them in place. I wanted to add some natural light to the containers, so I decided to add some windows. I started welding up metal window frames made out of square tubing. The windows will then slide into these frames. Once the window frames were done, it was time to cut the openings into the containers. I used an angle grinder, measured twice, and I hoped that I only needed to cut once.
My plan totally worked. That was awesome.
On our shipping container house, I fully welded the window frames, but that took forever. So on this project, I decided to just stitch weld around the perimeter. In hindsight, this was a mistake because we did end up with a few small leaks. I sprayed the frames with a bare metal primer and then caulked the perimeter to seal the gap between the frame and the container. Then I pressure washed the containers to prep them for paint, and once it was dry, it was time to install the windows. I caulked the perimeter and inserted the windows from the inside. To save money, we used in-stock new construction windows from our local hardware store. This isn't how windows are typically installed, but it means that I didn't have to add any additional trim on the outside to cover the window flange. The downside is that we're relying on a caulk joint